Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching. Welcome to our episode number 8 of our weekly series, What's Your Spark? Today with Patricia Herrera, who is joining us from Mexico City. Welcome to the show, Patricia. ¿Cuánto tiempo? Muy buenos días.
Buenos dias. Thank you so much, Regina, for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you too. So actually, I put on a Mexico-inspired dress today in your honor.
Thank you. Wonderful.
And you know what, Patricia, last night, or Pato, as I usually call you, right? Last night on the plane, I actually watched Frida, the movie again. I had seen it a long time ago. Frida Kahlo is such a phenomenon, right? So I was watching it again after years. And I really enjoyed, refreshing my memory with all the, not just the visuals, but also and the story, but also the music and everything. So it was really nice.
Yeah, it is a great movie, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So before we hear more from Patricia and her very impactful spark, please, everyone watching, hit that like button and share your comments and questions in the comment section. If you're not catching us live, you can still comment after watching the recording. We will definitely get back to you. We'll check in again later and follow up on all your comments and questions as soon as we can. So this series, as I have said it before in the previous episodes, is for anyone who loves to be inspired by other women who are contributing their insights and creativity, their wisdom and their stories and their life experiences, yes, and how they make a difference in the world. Because as we know, when we open up our minds to fresh perspectives and new ideas, we also open up new possibilities for ourselves. And I'm all about opening up new possibilities. Yes, whatever our current circumstances might be. So through these interviews with women around the world, we can go to a place where we can grow from and with each other and be inspired to find our own spark, or just dig a little deeper with it if we've already found it. So we can all live even more passionate, more purpose-driven, and more impactful lives. Because we're all meant to sparkle with our unique brilliance, whether we are entrepreneurs, business owners, employees, whatever our situation is, doesn't really matter. We're here to sparkle. And today I have the pleasure to introduce you to my dear friend, Patricia Herrera, who I met many years ago when we were sharing an apartment in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yes.
As we were working at the same company. So much has happened since then, Patricia, right?
It has. Yes.
Yeah, so we moved both around on this earth and whatnot, and all the different experiences we have made. And Patricia was also so generous as to host me during a short visit to Mexico City about 2 or 3 years ago now, as I was coming down from what was it called? Apaseo El Alto, just north of Mexico City, where I'd spent some time with a few shamans. And that was a very interesting trip as well. So let's go, Pato.
Sure. I'm ready, Regi.
Yeah. You're ready, right? You're ready to run here. You're ready to run. Okay, awesome. So Patricia, or Pato as I call her, is the founder and executive director of Pontis MX. So I invite you to check out her LinkedIn profile after our show. For now, just keep watching and listening. The LinkedIn profile is Patricia Herrera Garcia Diego. So Garcia Diego is one word. And it's in Spanish because she mostly works with Spanish-speaking people right now, as far as I understand. But this interview today is, of course, in English. So, Patricia, ¿estás lista? Are you ready,
I am ready
to shine your brilliant sparkle out to our audience?
Of course. Of course,
Always.
I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, siempre lista. Always ready, right?
Yes.
That's how I know you. Okay, great. So as always, my first question is, what's your spark? So what is that, as I call it in my work, your distinctive uniqueness, but that little special thing about it, your unique genius and brilliance, and how is it also related to your passions, and maybe to your background or whatever it is that you would like to share in that respect.
Not sure it's I have that so much brilliance and genius, like you said, but I think I know what my spark is, and I basically, and Regi, you know me, I think something that I don't want to say that it's very unique about me, but it, definitely defines me, that I'm an everything person, like you said. I'm a numbers person, I'm an engineer, that, but I also have a master's in nonprofit management. It's sort of like the opposite of the engineering process, right? And I, being born and raised in Mexico, which is one of my greatest loves, my brings you a lot of contrast, that if and diversity, I guess, and if you know how to include it in your life and in your work life and in your philosophy and in your day-to-day, brings you a lot of I don't want to say, maybe equilibrium is the right word.
Can you just repeat that real quick? Patricia, you were breaking up when you said the key word.
Oh,
so just that word, repeat it again.
Okay, sure. It is like equilibrium, it makes you very balanced. It makes you very balanced. Mexico, as a lot of people might know, belongs like the third world, right? But also, like, I think it belongs to the first world, so it's a little bit of everything. Mexico City, and it's this huge cosmopolitan city. It looks a little bit like Manhattan, where I live around. You've been here, but we're the city with the most museums in the world, for example. And of course, we have this awesome weather, and it's like the headquarters of so many companies and multinationals. But at the same time, you hear the guy that is selling tamales on a bike every single night, just walking down the streets, in the same street that we have the skyscrapers, and then this Manhattan looking sort of neighborhoods, and that dates back from like the 1600s and 1700s, so we're a mix of like cultures. You go downtown, you've been there, and you see, of course, the Spanish influence that was so important, and we see this cathedral, coming from like really Europe, and the sort of, I don't know, I guess we're also the Western world, but also we have these pyramids, and we have all of this. So this mix and this contrast and this diversity, I think it's what makes sort of like my spark. I relate to having that balance, equilibrium, and contrast in my life constantly.
Oh, that's awesome, Mandy. I'm so glad you also actually mentioned the pyramids, because I have a Stargate pyramid that I sit under, and to recharge my energy, and that I do healings under for myself and also for others. You might remember that after we met, it really started after, but after we met, I was studying a lot of holistic healing, techniques, modalities, different types of methodologies. And some of them, of course, work a lot with energy, and the pyramids amplify this energy. And for example, when I'm a little tired, I would sit under the pyramid, and then I would just get totally refreshed, and my energy level would go up. It's sort of an amplifier, so I amp up my energy, right? And also, before I do those sessions with the group that I do them with, I just did one this morning, actually, after a very short night's sleep, because I got in late on an airplane last night. But, as soon as I did that, and as soon as I was sitting under that pyramid, my energy actually went up drastically. So these pyramids, they have so much geometry, or geometric power, I should say, right? They are.
Oh, and in engineering,
so mysterious.
Engineering school, yes. They will tell you that the pyramid is the perfect structure, also from a physics point of view.
Yeah. And the ancient people on this planet, I mean, we don't want to go into who they were exactly here. There's not enough time. There's so much to say about this, right? And there are experts who talk about this better than I do, but they knew all this, and then this knowledge was lost for us, and we are rediscovering it. Yes.
It got never lost in here, though.
Right. But a lot of our, so-called civilized
Right.
As a so-called civilized society, lost this knowledge, and we're not really aware of it. And unless we study it and we really, have that interest, right? So it's not that it was lost for everybody, but we just have not been able to always take advantage of it because we don't learn it at school,
We do, but
right?
I understand.
Yeah, I know, but that's great for you, because I'm learning so much about all this power right now again, and I of course have always had this, not always, I've had this interest for a long time now, but not everybody does. So I talk to a lot of people who have really not a lot of idea about this, right? So anyway, so let's move on with your spark, because this is about you. So how did you find your spark?
Oh, it is a very interesting question. I'm not sure if I found my spark or my spark found me.
Okay.
It's a sort of like what I do for a living, and what we haven't mentioned it is like I give consulting services to nonprofits and social projects.
Right.
Basically, most of them based in Mexico, in the country, not necessarily Mexico City, but I mean I've worked abroad too, as you know, and it's sort of like that founded me. I've always been worried and concerned about what happens with the world. I learned how to read when I was 4 years old, not in school. I learned it at home because I was so stubborn. I wanted to find out what was going on because of the newspaper. I would see the pictures and I would ask what's going on. And I noticed I couldn't read. So I was like, ask, what is, and it was like a constant concern of mine to know what was going on. And I also was raised by an indigenous nanny. You met her, Nieves. Do you remember her?
Yes,
And
yes, no news.
right, so
Lovely,
sweet and
lovely
so
lady, yeah.
bright and so lovely. But also, I could see how it was very easy to see how we literally were born into worlds. I mean, and I'm not saying like a super rich and super poor, not even like that. But it's just like just having running water or electricity. Just the conditions were so different. And we live so close to each other. And something that I was never comfortable with, and I thought it was unfair and injustice. And I would ask her all the time, Why, Nieves? Why is your place like that and mine like this?" And she never had an answer. I'd ask my parents. I asked everybody. I sent a letter to the president when I was like 7 or 8 years old. That's how worried I was. So I guess it was very natural for me just to say, well, probably there's a way to do it right. Probably there's a set of best practices that can lead us to a better world. Like it can be all instinctive or
Right.
there actually has to be a methodology and a set of best practices and people that dedicate their lives to study and discover ways to make the. So that's how I landed doing what I do.
Yeah, so that's awesome that you said you don't know whether it found you or you found it, because I think that happens actually to all of us. I believe that we're all born. This is my personal belief. Not everybody needs to believe the same, and I've mentioned it before in another show. But I believe that we are all born. We choose to be born in a certain place with a certain family, right? Not everybody believes that. I know that, but that also that gives me a huge responsibility over my life. I think there's no coincidence why we meet these people, on our life path, because we come with a certain purpose, we come with a certain calling, and somehow this where we're born and who we meet facilitates that, or it inspires that. And not all people pick up on it, but a lot of us do, and that's really beautiful. And that's how you also have come to make a huge impact. So tell us a little bit more about how are you making an impact through your spark.
By the way, I hope I'm making an impact. That is a question.
Oh, you are. I know you.
But I was talking to some colleagues, and or not that I was talking, we constantly get back to this, that we think we're making an impact, and in theory it looks like, but we're always questioning to ourselves, not of lack of confidence, but just because I don't want to ever believe that I'm doing good, if you know what I mean, and I'm doing everything perfect, because that way I will never notice if I'm not doing it. I need to go back and ask myself once and once and again, is this really making an impact? Is this the right way to go? But basically what I think I am doing, and I also was talking about it yesterday, there I'm going to call them nonprofits and foundations, but it's social projects around the world, and they take different names, but they're basically the same. These are, things or projects that are meant to do social good. It's just for the better good and for everybody else. So what I decided, I was like, I can open my own nonprofit, I guess, and choose a cause that I have many, by the way, that I love. But I think poverty eradication, and I can just manage it and run it. And I know how to be an executive director, and I founded 3 nonprofits already, and I can fundraise. I'm a good fundraiser, and I can do all that. But I was like, but I'm more interested in empowering all these nonprofits that are run by real experts and passionate people, and they really know how to manage them, like really manage them. They need a consultant to come in and tell maybe this is the right approach. Maybe this is the way we can strengthen your board and build your capacity and help you with the fundraising. And I felt, talking about pyramids, and I did my, my essay to get into my master's talking about this pyramid effect, but on social projects and nonprofits. And I was like, if I open my own nonprofits, I would be at the base of the pyramid, which is not bad. Of course, we need the base of the pyramid, basically, But what happens if I the efforts on the top? So there, like you said, you said it like in energy and healing terms. I'm gonna say it in engineering terms. A pyramid is a structure, it's like this, and if you put like pressure, any kind of force at the tip of it, it gets distributed 4 ways, right? So I that's what I thought about what I wanted to do. I was like, if I work at the top, then the effect is gonna be multiplied all along the pyramid, instead of just contributing to a nonprofit at the base, which is of course nothing wrong with it. But I just felt that for some reason, and you would understand when I said it was like a voice inside me that was telling me, you're the best way that you can contribute is by doing that, empowering all of them. I work backstage. And that's what I do. I work backstage so that my clients and all, the wonderful projects that I work with can really thrive and, and shine.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. So you're sharing all your knowledge, you're sharing it with them so that they can benefit from it. And it creates that ripple effect. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's fantastic, Patricia, and I really love how you do this. And as you said, there's a role for everybody. Yes. And also, I just want to say, not all foundations in the world are doing good. So we also need to be discerning when we support them, and how to distinguish that as well. And so we need somebody like you who really does these amazing webinars. I was lucky enough to attend one of your webinars, although I don't work in that area, but I was just really curious. So thank you for allowing me to be a guest in the past.
I was happy to have you. Yeah.
To pass it on to others, because this is just like you're doing such a wonderful job teaching and consulting from what I can tell. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you know what? Not everybody can afford consulting, so that's why I do webinars and workshops, because then it's a way of sharing the knowledge. And it's interesting that you say that not all foundations do good. And I have to say something that I've learned throughout time, and I'm just going to mention an example. You know how there's some pro-life, right? So it's exactly they work for the exact opposite mission. I don't consider myself someone that can judge and say, this is right and this is wrong. So I don't do that, because I understand that one thing I've learned, everybody believes they're doing good when they open up a nonprofit or a social project. They think they're contributing to the world.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing is I'm never a judge, but I do choose the nonprofits I work with.
Right. So I didn't mean it because of the content, actually. So I was referring to something else. We don't have to go into the details of that either. But I could tell. It's probably not the right place to point them out, but I can certainly point you to some.
No, but I think it's interesting
because doing it for the Anyway,
no, because it's interesting because some people ask me, how how do you manage to work with some nonprofits? By the way, there's the other like sort of bad way they're mismanaged and stuff. And I was like, well, it's sort of like it's a difficult and easy. It's difficult on one side and it's easy on the other. I can choose my own causes and nonprofit.
Right. Yeah, no, that's great. No, awesome. And you should do that because, you need to put your all into this work and you need to put your heart into it so that it's successful, So
yes,
we have to
exactly.
go where we are pulled in that sense. For example, I don't like working with, and I'm saying this very openly, with certain industries. So I will not do it, right?
Exactly. Why would you?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we are going already the 20 minutes today. So we got to wrap this up in just a little bit. But Patricia, tell us where people can find you in addition to your LinkedIn profile.
Thank you. Well, we have, as you mentioned, our website is Pontis, PONTIS.mx. That's our website. We're under the same name, Pontis MX, on Instagram and also on Facebook. And I think that's the best way to reach us.
Okay, great.
I don't work by myself. We're a team of people.
Yeah, easy enough. Okay, great. Yeah, of course. And that's wonderful. So thank you again for sharing your spark with us today, Patricia. Before we close, I'm going to quickly share mine as always. So as a multicultural transformational leadership coach, I help mid-tier women, employees, many of who work in financial services, I help them achieve their next career goals so they can fulfill their potential and increase their income, influence, and impact. Whether they want to do that in financial services and stay where they are, or whether they want to go somewhere completely different or just to a different place within the industry, whatever it is. So every Thursday morning, I'm also sharing a free resource here on LinkedIn, and watch out for that. It's definitely going to come again this Thursday around 11:30 Eastern. Thanks again, Pato, and to everyone watching. As always, we trust this show inspired you to express your spark fully and fulfill your potential in this way. And please do click on like and share your thoughts in the comments. Also, feel free to share this show either here or on YouTube, where we'll also post it as well shortly. So see you again next Tuesday, same time, and I'll be chatting with Lisa Genza from the US. Lisa will be joining us from the Detroit area, Michigan, and she's the owner of Freedom Kitchen. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, Pato.
Ciao, ciao.
Stay on a little bit with me.
Will do.